Howdy folks, I'm lovely Lady's Bedstraw, lazily laughing while lilting lumpy lullabies.
I'm Amber.
And here are more lumpy lullabies for us to lilt. So I don't know exactly how we do all that, but we do because we can, and we're Lady's Bedstraw, so yeah, let's get started. Alright folks, and our first letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Getting Upset After My Boyfriend Said, How can I marry something like that over a Fanta while I'm pregnant? I'm a 21-year-old and I'm pregnant in my first trimester. My boyfriend is 21 years old. Right now, pregnancy cravings and nausea are hitting me pretty hard. One of the only drinks that I can actually stomach, besides water, is Fanta Exotic. I normally drink cola, but I'm avoiding caffeine right now. I'm staying at my boyfriend's parents' place, and his mom specifically bought me Fanta Exotics because she knows it's one of the few things that I can tolerate. Other than that, I mostly drink water. Tonight, my boyfriend and I were laughing together, eating and hanging out normally. Before he went into the bathroom, he told me to check the fridge and see what drinks were there because he wanted to bring something into the bedroom for the night. I listed off all the juices and Coke. He then walks up, grabs one of the Fantas, and goes, I'm going to drink a Fanta, okay? And I responded, I'll have to buy more Fanta, but then told him to take it. He then deadpans, looks at me and says, How can I marry something like that? With a complete, straight, serious face. At first, I thought that he was joking. I looked at him and just repeated, What? Just take it. But I pretty soon noticed that he was actually serious. So I got upset and I went to the bedroom crying. Later, he came in angry at me for slamming the door on the way into the bedroom. We argued back and forth while I was still crying. And I asked him how he could say something like that over a drink. He basically doubled down and said, Yeah, how can I marry someone who's too greedy to give me a Fanta? I'm currently sat on the couch as I'm typing this, just washed down my anti-nausea meds with said Fanta. Probably sleeping here. Adding for context, we had a pretty big fight 2 days before because the topic of marriage came up and he seemed unsure to me. I essentially broke down because I was sad over the fact that I'm carrying his child and he's not sure enough to marry me as we've hit a pretty big milestone. So this just adds on to the wound here. Now, I genuinely can't tell if I'm hormonal and overreacting or if that was actually a really mean thing to say over one soda that was specifically bought for me while I'm pregnant and sick. So I'm a jerk for getting upset. All right, folks, what do you think?
No, absolutely not the jerk. He is the one being selfish. Now, it is a good thing in relationships to share, but there's a time and place. And when there's something that is like one of the only things your partner can keep down because they're growing a mini human inside them, that's the time to say, those are all yours. I have forgotten that that was all you could have. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I think that this isn't about the Fanta at all. I think this is about their argument from the other day because he's bringing up reasons why he can't marry her, right? Like, oh, I'm unsure about marrying you because you're too greedy over Fanta or you're too selfish over this or that, right? So he's just kind of basically making excuses at this point in time on why he can't marry OP. And I think that's really what this boils down to. I don't think that this is over the Fantas. I think this is just him concocting reasons why they can't get married, right? At least that's how I'm reading this situation. If OP hadn't added the context about the argument they had about the getting married, I think I would feel a little bit differently about this, but I don't know. This just feels like he's avoiding marriage and he wants to give her a reason why they can't get married.
Yeah, well, that could very well be, but whatever the reason is, like, he is behaving badly. OP is being fine. There is nothing wrong with wanting to claim something when it's one of the only things you can have.
Yeah, I mean, I understand maybe it can be frustrating if you have a partner who is pregnant and they have a lot of cravings and stuff like that. But I have also heard of a lot of partners who go out of their ways to basically get the things that they can eat, right? And he's being incredibly selfish. Like OP and him are going to be parents here. And what happens when that child arrives and the child wants the last drink or something like that in a fridge? I mean, any parent generally will be like, oh yeah, I'll give this to my kid because they're my child, right? Parents tend to be sacrificed for their children because that's generally what you do, right? And he's showing that he is not willing to sacrifice for OP. Why would we think that he's going to sacrifice for his own child in the future, right? So I'm very worried about how selfish he's acting here, right? I know he's claiming that OP is being selfish, but OP isn't doing this out of greed. OP is doing this out of necessity. They aren't withholding, and they weren't even withholding the Fantas. They just didn't list them off on the drinks because they probably assumed that he wouldn't want to take the one drink that she could possibly stomach, you know?
Yeah, well, and we even offered it to him. I was like, well, yeah, I'll have to get more, but yeah, you can have it.
So I don't even think his argument really holds any weight here. I just think he's, again, making excuses. I think that he's being the, selfish one, but that's just my opinion. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. Alright folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for refusing to pay for damage to a borrowed car that I caused, but I did not know the car was uninsured? My girlfriend was out of town for a work trip for about a week. Before she left, she told me that I could stay at her place while she was gone, and that I could use her car for errands because my own car was in the shop. Some important details, she has 2 cars. She never specified which one that I could or couldn't use. One day, my friend and I decided to do a day round trip a couple of hours away. I took one of her cars. Unfortunately, I got into an accident. Basically, some girl didn't go through a yield sign, even though she could have easily made it, hesitated, and I ended up rear-ending her SUV. The police came, the insurance info was exchanged, etc. I immediately told my girlfriend what happened. At first, she was pretty upset, but mostly concerned, and nobody was hurt. Then things got worse. Apparently, the car that I took had some super specific insurance policy where it was only covered to drive from her house to the track and back because she uses it for racing events and track practice. I had absolutely no idea about this. She never mentioned it when she said I could use her car. The insurance denied the claim for her car because of that. Luckily, the damage to the SUV wasn't too bad, so my girlfriend paid for that out of pocket. But she now wants me to pay for all of the damages to her car too, and the repair estimate is ridiculously high. My issue is that she literally told me that I could use her car. She never told me that one of them wasn't really insured for normal driving, or if there was any restrictions. Now she's saying obviously she meant the other car, and that I should have known not to take this one because it's her track car. I know she takes it to the track, but I did not know that there were insurance restrictions on it. I honestly don't think that it's obvious at all. If someone says, you can use my car, and they have multiple cars, shouldn't they specify if one is basically off limits or uninsured for regular driving? She thinks that I'm irresponsible and says that I should pay because I crashed it. I think that she failed to tell me something extremely important before giving me permission to use her vehicles. All right, folks, what do you think?
Yeah, OP, you are a major jerk here. I mean, first of all, it sounds like you took her race car. Like, that's what we're reading between the lines. She talks about driving into the track. I think if one of the cars is literally a race car and the other is a normal driving car, and she says, yeah, you can use my car for errands, then you would assume not the race car. And secondly, she said for errands. She didn't say, yeah, you can take my car to go on a day trip with your friend. You saw her, this is the prime opportunity to use her race car. You saw the plausible deniability, but you said I could take your car. And even if she had given you permission to use the race car, you still are the one who had the accident. It's still your responsibility to pay for it.
Yeah, well, also, it sounds like this could have been a very easily preventable accident. And, like, who drives this recklessly while using someone else's car too, right? Like, you always keep enough room between you and the car ahead of you, and OP doesn't sound like a very good driver if they, are one, borrowing someone's car, and then two, also driving, in a way that they could get into an accident, right? Like, I feel like if I was using someone else's car, I would be extra careful not to get into an accident and drive extra safe so that, there isn't a chance of an accident. Now, also, I think that OP should have been looking into their own insurance because oftentimes insurance will cover the driver of other vehicles. Like my insurance policy, if I drive another vehicle, I can claim my insurance if I get into an accident, right? And so I think OP should be looking into whether their insurance covers this or not, because then that will, allow them to actually recoup some of the cost. And as for the girlfriend paying for the damage to the other vehicle? No. OP needs to cover the cost of all the damage for both vehicles, including, and the girlfriend's vehicle included, right?
Mm-hmm.
This is absurd that he's being like, oh, I can't believe I have to pay for the damages to my girlfriend's vehicle, the one that I wasn't given permission to drive, right? And like, again, like, even if the insurance had covered the damages or some of the damages, OP should still have paid out of pocket for any other damage or any other, deductibles or anything like that, and not left it up to their girlfriend to pay. This is just an incredibly irresponsible and selfish thing for him to do.
Mm-hmm.
But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck to the girlfriend so she can find a new partner. But folks, let's see what the Wheel of Judgment has to say. Wheel of Judgment, turn, turn, turn. Tell us the judgment that OP's earned. Centrifuge. Thank you, Wheel. Thank you. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a Jerk for Telling My Boyfriend Not to Open My Mail? My boyfriend opened my Amazon package without my knowledge. Some context, we don't live together, but he has keys to my place, and he helps take out my dog sometimes. I'd come home from visiting my parents and noticed my Amazon package on the countertop opened. I knew that it was delivered over the weekend when I wasn't home, so it was odd that it was open. My boyfriend was at my house at the time, and I asked him if he had opened my package. He said yes. I asked him why, and he responded, I just did. I said to him, you understand that it's illegal to open someone's mail, right? And he responded with, yeah, so? It's just an Amazon package. I said, can you please not open my packages? It's addressed to my name, and you don't even live here. You shouldn't be opening someone's mail without their consent. He started becoming defensive at this point and responded by telling me he didn't have to deal with this nonsense, and it's not that big of a deal. He started walking towards the door to leave. This is where I should have just left the conversation, but I didn't like that he was abandoning the situation. I quickly realized that I wasn't upset at the opening the mail, as I can't go back in time and stop it from happening. I blocked him from leaving and I said, hold on, why are you abandoning the situation when you're the one who opened my mail? His only response was, you're only focusing on the negative. I did all of these things for you, unloaded the dishwasher, I let the dog out, but all you're fixated on is the mail. So am I the jerk for getting upset at him for opening my package? All right, folks, what do you think?
You're not the jerk for getting upset at him for opening your package. Like you said, that is, one, illegal, and it is also a gross invasion of privacy. You have a right to your own packages. Now, if someone is trying to leave, no matter how frustrated you are with them, you should not block them. That I would disagree with on that. But that's just a tiny thing. Overall, he is the one who's behaved much more badly.
Yeah, I would say that OP's in the wrong for blocking him from leaving. I don't think that there was any excuse for that. I understand, like, OP was wanting him to answer, but OP already got the answer out of him that they needed, right? He just said, I opened it because I wanted to. When people want to leave, they have the right to leave, right? Otherwise, they're being falsely imprisoned or any number of things, right? I mean, not that this would probably classify as false imprisonment. So I think that OP needs to kind of cool their jets in the future and not block someone from leaving a situation. They can break up with him over this.
Yes. Yeah, you absolutely, I think there's a lot of cause here to not want to be in this relationship anymore with someone who is not respecting your privacy. But you should not be actually blocking someone from being able to exit your place.
Yeah, and plus, sometimes people need time to cool down from an argument, and exiting an argument and say, let's talk about this later, or let's wait until we're both a little bit more level-headed, and then we can have this discussion, I think is a very reasonable way to go. But saying, no, you can't leave this argument, we're gonna hash this out, I think was an unhealthy way of approaching the situation. Now, as for the boyfriend, yeah, he's completely in the wrong here. You shouldn't open other people's mail. And what he did here was an invasion of privacy. And I think that OP has every right to be upset at him and even break up with him if they want to. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. And Best Product 7027 says, take his key back. He literally just told you that he can do whatever he wants in your space. And the Blondie One says, he can and will. And Break My Fate says, this exactly. Why did you throw all my clothes outside when I was away? Him, I just did it. Goodbye. And Tyann88 says, not the jerk. The fact that he opened your package and then is becoming defensive is a major red flag. And Area 1031 says, not the jerk. I've been married for 29 years and have a 20-year-old daughter and a 16-year-old son. I don't open their packages without explicit instruction to do so and an understanding of what is supposed to be in it. He's running away, and twisting it back on you is a red flag. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for saying bless you to an unknown neighbor that sneezed? I sat in the garden. I hear over the fence a sneeze from a neighbor. Specific identity unknown. I know some of them. I don't know all of them. I have no idea of the owner of the sneeze. But I shouted back, bless you. It has been suggested that it was a jerk move because it feels like a violation of privacy. Embarrassing for the sneezer and rude. Am I the jerk? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, absolutely not the jerk. I mean, I just feel like if I sneeze and some random stranger calls out bless you, it doesn't bother me at all. It's like, oh, okay, that's just like politeness. I feel like it's just like an etiquette thing. So I don't see any issue with it.
A violation of privacy would have been you hiding in their closet and then them sneezing and then you saying bless you.
Yes. Well, I mean, I think the context is important. Yeah. Like if I'm just like outside and, someone yells bless you, but if I'm inside home alone and I hear bless you coming from my closet, yeah, that's a problem.
That would be then a violation of privacy. Yes. This situation, not a violation of privacy. You're out in the open, maybe you're in your backyard, but you're not in a place where you expect, absolute privacy, right? So, no, I don't think that OP is in the wrong here. There's important context here, right? But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, and our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for choosing not to get a permit for my child's first birthday party? My child's first birthday party is coming up, and we're hosting the party at an event venue. If we wanted to have alcohol at the venue, we would have to get a permit per our contract. I figured that it wasn't necessary because it's a first birthday party, and I also don't want to spend money on a permit. But my partner says he wished that he would have known this sooner. I did tell him when I signed the contract, but he forgot and claims that I never told him. So we could allow alcohol at the event, and he says that people are going to be upset about not being able to drink. So am I the jerk for not getting a permit and thinking that people wouldn't mind not drinking 2 hours at a child's birthday party? All right, folks, what do you think?
No, not the jerk. I have been to so many children's birthday parties over the years, and I don't think I've ever seen one where there's been alcohol provided.
Yeah.
Like, I understand the kid is too little to actually remember the party, but still, I would hope that the party guests can spend 2 hours enjoying the soda and the cake and talking and be okay without alcohol.
And it sounds like OP's partner doesn't want to remember the birthday party. I don't know why can you not go 2 hours at a child's birthday party without drinking? I think that OP should talk to their partner and they should examine their relationship with alcohol. This doesn't sound like a healthy relationship with alcohol. If you are struggling to spend this much time away from a substance, then it's a good idea to go into counseling and talk to a therapist and see, if there is actually a problem here, right? Because a lot of people will use alcohol to the point where they don't actually realize that they're addicted to it. And, it's important to get those kinds of things sorted out, right?
Yeah, well, it is often like a family thing and a cultural thing too. So like if he's grown up in a family where there was like alcohol provided at everything, I understand why that would seem normal to him, but it is perfectly reasonable to not provide alcohol at a child's birthday party.
Yeah, so I think that he is overreacting in this situation. I don't know that I would even think twice. I would be surprised, actually, if I went to a party for a child's first birthday party and there was like an open bar or something like that, right? I'd be like, wow, they are going all out here. But let me know what you folks think. So anyhow, take care and good luck. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I've got some tea right here, and Amber, she has a joke.
Did you hear about the dad who burned the Hawaiian pizza?
I did. He was trying to appease the pizza gods and because of his sins of making a Hawaiian pizza, and his transgressions were forgiven.
He should have put the oven on aloha temperature.
No, that was worse than mine. And I mean, mine was not good. What is wrong with this joke?
I
Bug?
know. I don't read the punchlines beforehand, and so I was like, wait, what?
What is wrong with this joke book? And I have Earl Grey. And folks, today is a very special day. You may have just heard the worst possible punchline of your life day. So make sure to go make up an even worse punchline so that you don't feel like this is the bottom. So yeah. All right, folks, that's all the time we have for today. Thank you so much for watching. Happy Special Sunday, folks. And you know what makes it special? You do, and Amber does too.
And Brian does too.
Amber, we need some kind of moral advice on our guidance, and please have it on driving other people's vehicles.
If someone tells you you can borrow their car and they have a regular car and a race car, it is safe to assume that they mean the regular car. And if you're not sure, ask them.
And race car is a palindrome. But thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.